this is Lee Brown and Matt Brown, and we are at the King home where Matthew grew up. You hear that? We are here at the home, and this is just before nightfall, and we're going through trying to get some clues, see how things are now. This is one of the first times he's been back here since he moved. Matthew, could you point out the tree that the man hung himself in?
This large tree right in front of us here. The stories that we got, that we were told, was that he tied off to this bend in this tree, and when he heard his family pulling in, they were in horse-drawn carriage at that time. When he heard them pulling in, is when he jumped off of the chair he had on the tree on the front porch, and he hung himself right there in front of his family.
Let's see if.
So it was imagine it was being a very intense time for that family, very traumatic to come in and watch their father die right before their eyes.
Do you know when this house was built?
The early 1700s is all I know. I don't know the exact date. We know it's the early 1700s, and it survived a attack by the Cherokee. And there was a mark in the original front door, they said, where a tomahawk had been thrown into the door while they were fighting them off. But that door has since been removed, and a replacement door is up there. It was a very intense house. Had a lot of energy, a lot of things for it. I loved it when I first moved here because it was out in the country, it was in the middle of nowhere, there was plenty of hunting and fishing, and I enjoyed the serenity of it being out here. And then it turned into something much darker as it tried to drive me and my family out. Just give me a... Alright, this is the remnants of the barn that I was actually in when I turned around and looked back towards the house. And if you look back, there's an upstairs room. The upstairs room over here, the window on the left, that pine tree wasn't there at the time. It's since grown up.
So this tree here wasn't here.
Right, that tree was not there. And I looked in that window, and that's where I saw the little girl looking back at me. And she had a bow in her hair, which my sister occasionally would wear bows in her hair, but it was just kind of odd. And I just looked back and waved. I thought it was my sister. And when I came inside, shortly thereafter, she was downstairs wearing something totally different and had no bows in her hair. And I asked her if she was up in her room and if she had changed clothes already, and she said she had never been up there. So this was after she had the incident where she had seen the image in the window, the phantom image in the window, and she wouldn't go back in that room again after that.
Now, that is the same place here on top of the front awning of the house where that air conditioner unit is.
Right, that's the window, the one with the air conditioner unit. The air conditioner unit, of course, was not there, and that's where she saw the image that was just screaming back at her. When she screamed at it, it screamed back at her. And that's when she gave that traffic going by. That's when she gave that blood-curdling scream, which woke me and my brother up, and we came running in there as fast as we could.
Well, let's see what else we can find on the property to see if you can tell if anything else has changed.
Okay.
See if you can remember anything else.
All right.
Okay, this is Lee Brown with Family Spirit and Matt Brown with Family Spirit, and he's going to show us where he fell off the roof when he was attacked by the hornets. So basically, from what you were telling us, you were anointing the house, the roof of the house.
That's correct. We had already gone and done the ground level and all the doors and all the windows, and we had even done the upstairs windows in the home. and we still felt a negative presence that was involved in in the house. So that's when my mother decided that it was time to go all out, and we anointed the entire house, every level, every floor, everything, and we anointed the roof. And I started on this lower level, and I started working my way up to the second level, and then I got up to the top, and I did the top and the peaks. And as I was coming back down the peaks, a wasp, I was attacked by a swarm of wasps. We could never find a wasp nest, and wasp nests are usually very large. Um, we never found a wasp nest. Just a swarm of wasps came out of nowhere. It was almost as if they came out of the ceiling of the house, and I started getting stung, and I jumped from that second level up there down to the ground, which is 2 stories. It's probably, these are very tall ceilings in this house, so it's probably close to 20 feet. And I hit the ground, rolled, I got up, and immediately, as soon as my feet touched the ground, the pain of the stings went away. And of course, my mom was standing down here at the time, and she saw it all happen. And as soon as I hit the ground, we couldn't find any signs of any stings. We couldn't find any stingers. There were whelps on me, but as soon as we pulled my shirt up, the whelps went away. It was like they dissolved into nothing. Um, it was a very interesting time. That's when we felt the turn in the battle on the spiritual side of this home, and we felt like we had driven them. We had gotten
Is
a
that
leg up.
the power thing?
Yeah, that's the actual meter that
Well,
was replaced twice.
do you think you can get that from here?
I got it.
I want to go look at it. So. Oh.
Careful.
So this is the thing that was running. Obviously, there's no power here.
It's running.
Is it running?
Yeah, it's drawing power right now.
Yeah, it's got power.
Are you recording? All right. This is where the unit was that once these spirits that were here realized that spiritually they weren't going to beat us, that's when they started attacking us monetarily. And that's when they took our power bill, which was normally less than $100 a month, and in 1 month it jumped to $800 a month with nothing new added to the home, nothing to explain the jump in the price. And immediately, upon receiving the bill, we called the power company, and they came out to investigate. And the wheel that's in here was just spinning extremely fast, and you could actually watch the numbers turning. And the electrician that came out from the power company said he'd never seen one do that. Even in big mills and plants, he'd never seen one draw that much power. So he replaced the unit that was in there with a brand new unit to see if it was still doing the same, and it continued. So then we pulled the breakers. Used to have fuse breakers instead of um, the manual trip breakers. They had the screw-in fuse breakers. We pulled every fuse breaker out of the house. There was no other panels, and he put the meter back in, and it continued to run at the same rate with no power at all being drawn in the house by any man-made device. Um, then we went even further and went in and disconnected the power to the stove. Unplugged the stove, disconnected the power to the hot water heater, and everything that we had power. There was no central heating and air in the house. Um, so the only things that would draw massive amounts of power was a refrigerator, stove, and a freezer, and hot water heater. And we disconnected all four of those, and we still had the massive draw. So we were concerned that perhaps something through the house had been straight wired, and the electricians came through and troubleshot all the wires, and they couldn't find anything that was straight wired in the home. And this was the straw that eventually broke the camel's back for our family, that we knew that financially we wouldn't be able to stay here, and it was time for us to move on. Unfortunately, we had to give the battle up, due to monetary. But since that time, no one has lived in this house more than 30 days. And as you see now, it's just being used as a hunting lodge. So no one lives in this house any long period of time.